Now, whilst the budget delivered just over a week ago failed to substantively address these issues and meet these tests, there are some budget measures that we can support. In addition to the measures announced by Peter Dutton last Thursday night, including initiatives focused on dealing with domestic violence, I can confirm that we will support initiatives that we judge will make our country more prosperous and more productive. These include the establishment of a financial services regulatory grid, the proposed one-stop shop for investors, streamlined foreign investment board approvals, and the development of a regulatory regime for digital assets. For some time we've been calling for these policies, but implementation will be critical. However, when it comes to the broader measures, economists are clear, as I said, that the budget is unambiguously expansionary. Labor has committed an extra $315 billion of spending since the last election, or around $30,000 per Australian household. On policy decisions, Labor is spending $4 for every $1 raised. Government spending as a percent of GDP is forecast to be at its highest level since the mid-80s outside of the pandemic. Nominal spending is growing at 16% over the next 2 financial years. That's double the rate of economic growth. Now, Labor says this is unavoidable, but included in this spending is much that we consider to be unnecessary waste, including what you saw recently with the $450 million on the failed referendum, but billions in corporate welfare, millions in grants to the union movement, funding of anti-resource project activists, more than $85 million for spin units inside the Treasurer's department, 36,000 additional Commonwealth public servants, and $45 billion in off-budget spending that we've opposed through the Parliament. This kind of spending is only unavoidable to Labor. And despite inflation-fuelled bracket creep and some of the strongest commodity prices in Australia's history, Labor has wasted the windfall. Personal income taxes are 23% higher than when Labor came to office. The structural deficit is growing, leaving Australia vulnerable to future shocks. This is leading to growing debt and making commodity-driven surpluses look very short-term. None of this is helping to bring down inflation and interest rates. None of this is helping to boost productivity and capacity for sustainable growth. The government's position is clear. Their high inflation, low growth economy fuelled only by record population growth is someone else's fault. But that starting position is a cop-out. Not only did the government promise a cure, it now blames whoever it can. And that's because it misdiagnoses the problems and won't use the necessary tools in the toolkit to solve those problems. Now, we need a better way. In order to get Australia back on track, we need a back-to-basics economic agenda. An agenda that Peter and our team has been outlining over the last 2 years and will continue to through to the election. My colleagues Jane Hume, Michaelia Cash, Ted O'Brien, Sarah Henderson have outlined the principles that will guide our approach in their areas like deregulation, industrial relations, energy, education and others. And led by Peter, we've already announced policies that will make it easier to get a job and run a business by supporting pensioners, veterans and job seekers to work more without losing their payments. Restore the dream of home ownership by letting first home buyers and older women access super to help with the deposit, and by aligning migration and housing. Make our community safe and secure with practical policies like banning sports betting advertisements during live sport, doubling the size of the Australian Centre to counter child exploitation, and making it illegal to glorify criminal activities online. Ensure our lights stay on, our manufacturers stay open, and we bring down power bills by investing in the gas we need now and into the future. Make it easier to see a doctor and access mental health and women's health treatment by supporting training the next generation of GPs and committing funding for endometriosis and ovarian cancer.